Hello, and welcome to Keeping It Real with Relationships. I'm Zikel.
And I'm Sandeep.
Keeping it real.
Today we're getting a bit raunchy because we'll be discussing sex with a nice little twist of adding celibacy to the mix.
So celibacy is choosing to refrain from sexual activity, sometimes up until marriage.
Megan Good and her husband chose to be celibate and wrote a whole book called The Wait. This was discussed later on with our lovely guests today, and we'll also be joined by a man who chooses to be polyamoric, meaning openly having more than one relationship at the same time.
Wow. But before that, our team headed out into the streets of Birmingham to find out if people would stay celibate or not.
Just no, it's just me in it.
I would be willing to be celibate in a relationship.
If I was asked by my partner to be celibate, I would consider being celibate.
Personally, for myself, it's not something that I'm particularly passionate about.
No.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, if it had to come to that point, yeah.
No, I don't think I would be.
Yes, I would. It depends on the circumstance, obviously, but there's loads of different reasons why, but as long as you love a person, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I think if it was something my partner was interested in and I felt that way and I had strong feelings towards him, I'd definitely be all for that then.
Now let's head over to see what our guests, Rhys and Carin, had to say about sex and celibacy on the couch with Sandeep.
So now we're joined with Rhys and Carin, who are going to be talking to us about sex and celibacy and their views on it and why they've chosen what they've chosen. So thank you for joining us today, guys. It's great to have you here with us. So, obviously today we talk about sex and celibacy, getting a bit raunchy. So, Carin, I'll start with you. What's your stance on celibacy in a relationship?
Me personally, I'm celibate. It is a personal choice. It is a religious choice as well, because obviously me, I personally believe in sex after marriage. Celibacy in a relationship is something that's really, really important to me because it kind of separates a lot of things and lets me focus on the more important things for me that I want in my man, basically. And sex is basically not one of them because I really want to get to know someone for their personalities, how we emotionally connect, how we physically connect, intellectually and everything as well. So I feel like sex, without eliminating sex, helps me to focus on those greater aspects that can obviously build a stronger bond between me and my partner. Basically.
And Rhys, what do you think about that? Because you shared with us earlier you're polyamorous, which means that, actually, you explain it actually. Tell us, for the viewers who may not know what that is, explain to us what it is to be polyamorous.
Well, polyamory for me is having sort of multiple emotional and sexual partners where all parties are consensual and all parties, if they choose to, are doing the same thing. So it's different from an open relationship because that seems to just be two people in a relationship who can play away, if you like, but it doesn't go any further than that, whereas polyamory gives you sort of full control over who you want to meet and how far you want to go with them.
What is it about sex that makes you choose to wait for your husband? What is it about it that makes it so? Because like you mentioned before, like it's your personal choice but also religious as well. So what is it that puts that value on it so much? Okay,
for me personally, I believe that sex is like an interchange between two people. So once you connect with that person, it is sex is so, for me, sex is really, really precious. I feel like nowadays no one really puts that value on sex anymore. It's just something like it is an act, let's do it. Whereas me, it's like something so important. Like once you connect with someone on that level, it's like a bond between the two of you. And I feel like for that to just be given away to anyone, I can't do that. It has to be that person that I know I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, because I feel like it's something so precious to me that no one can, there's not anyone that can just have it. Do you know what I mean? The person that I'm going to give it to would need to be that person that I know I can spend the rest of my life with, that person that cares for me, loves me, would do anything for me. It's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's so important that I just want one person to have it, because it's basically, like I was saying before, it's like buying a brand new Ferrari. A lot of people can see it, but having that one person that can just drive that car, get into that car, turn the key and drive that car, and having that privilege of being the only person that has done that is something so beautiful.
And so what does it look like practically? Like, what do you call each other?
Well, like,
in terms of because does it get confusing if you've got a lot of partners, basically?
not so much confusing, but in terms of describing it to other people. Is it if I'm saying with Emily and I'm meeting some people, but I find one of them attractive, I'm less sort of, she is essentially my girlfriend, but I'm less sort of want to say that, because as soon as you say girlfriend, people go monogamy, people go, it means this, they're doing this. And it's not. I'd like to, but it just seems a bit pretentious to go, this is Emily, she's my girlfriend, but by the way, I do find you attractive. Well, so if there's something that could go on there, that'd be, but it just gets all a bit wordy.
What are some of the reactions that you've had from people?
A lot of them.
About that, like, especially people close to you, actually. What have reactions have it been?
There rarely seems to be any sort of negative reaction. It's more just sort of bewilderment or just being confused.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel the need to go through every permutation and ask, so is this all right? And it's all right when she does it, and it's all right when you do this with men. And what about when it's with and then this? And you go, yep, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah. And they don't seem to, it's only once you've gone through all that they go, okay, this is what it is.
Yeah, because it's, honestly, before I met you, I didn't know anything about this. So it is that thing that when you do meet someone for the first time, you're like, oh my gosh, I want to know this. I want to know all of that. Like, how does it work? Because I always think to myself as well, if I was with someone who was with multiple, like, say it wasn't just me they were with, I know I would be like, this guy doesn't love me.
Yep.
But because it's spread across the board, I'd feel like, I need to do more.
Well, you don't show love just by declaring yourself as being with someone. You show love through your actions and how you are with them and how you speak to them. So the fact that the next day you're planning to go on a date with someone else doesn't devalue that, because the previous day you've spent in bed with them watching films and eating chocolates.
And of course you said as well that your partners are the same, that they're polyamorous as well.
Some of them are, yes.
Some of them, okay. So Megan Good, who's quite famous, so she used to be in relationships where she was with people and she'd have sex and stuff, but then when she met her husband, who she's with now, they decided to wait together, and they actually wrote a book about it called The Wait. But something that she said, which was very interesting, was she said that when you're in a relationship and you have sex and that's kind of the first thing you do, or it's very quick that you go into that physically, that it clouds your judgment to that person. You don't know them enough yet. So to go straight in with just your body or just to go in the physical way, it's like it clouds your judgment, and that's what she said. But what do you think about that, Rhys? Because with you being in a relationship with multiple people, do you find that, I mean, we're all keeping it real here, does it cloud your judgment, honestly?
I don't
Human
think
nature,
it does at all. I disagree completely with that. I think I can see sex as a separate thing from your emotional life with someone. So you could you could have sex with a friend and then still be a friend at the end of that day. It's fine. It doesn't have to go anywhere after that. It doesn't have to be anything else. I think the idea of it clouding your judgment is more on the person rather than the act of sex itself. So if someone is of that nature where they're going to see this as the only thing or the big thing, then the views are going to be tainted by that. Or not necessarily tainted, but it's going to change. If that's what you want out of a certain relationship with someone, then that's what you're going to look for in it.
So in relationships that you've had since being monogamous, what's the main differences, apart from having multiple partners, of course, what's the main differences that you found intrinsically for yourself?
There seems to be a kind of narrative that you play out when you're in a monogamous relationship of the way you've been speaking. You equate sex as this amazingly valuable, you equate it with love, you seem to.
Yes, I do. It goes hand in hand.
I don't think they do. I think you can have incredibly loving and emotional sex, and you can do other things as well. That aren't that. They can sort of coexist alongside each other. It's about getting a bit of separation, I think, from this kind of, right, you meet, you get together, you do this, you get married, you have kids.
I kind of feel like it's more or less on how we were raised and how we were brought up, because your society and your environment shapes you. So the way I was brought up religiously to the max. So the things that I was told when I was young, the way I've been spoken to, the way I was raised is 100% different from the way you were raised.
So that begs the question then that Rhys, you're going by standards which are already there.
Yes.
Society standards which are already
Yes.
existing, whereas you're making a new way, right?
That's the one.
Right?
Exactly.
Basically
That's
making
the
it up
one.
as you go along. So
That's the one.
Why?
Well, I don't necessarily. I mean, I was brought up religious as well. I was church going from a very young age, and then at the age of 14, I was going to church just off my own back when none of my other family were. But in terms of this, it's kind of the idea of going, why is that the norm, and why is this what everybody else does?
Yeah.
And if we try this and it's successful,
What did you find from questioning it?
I'm questioning, like anything, when you sort of start to question big things that are there but for no discernible reason, it does fall apart rather quickly. When you look at like marriage rates aren't very good, the divorce rate is nearly 50%. Maybe the nuclear family doesn't need to exist anymore.
Need to, or that you don't want it to?
Personally, I don't want it to, but if other people want to be in a nuclear family, then they should be. That's fine.
Okay, yeah.
But I think there's far too much value placed on sex and things today.
I don't know.
Well, definitely in this episode.
Yeah.
It's all about sex today.
Yeah.
And
But it
celibacy,
shouldn't
of
be
course.
seen as this big emotional thing that's going to happen. It can also be just a quickie round the back of a pub or something, you know.
Okay.
Okay.
You raunchy
Okay.
guy.
I don't know what it is, but whenever I go out, I seem to get quite a lot of attention when it comes from men, period, just based off of my appearance. And for me, if I get rid of sex, it kind of just shows me who are the men and who are the boys and what exactly your intentions are for approaching me. Because I don't, if you approach me just for that intention of just having sex with me, I'm sorry, me and you, we cannot work at all. But me withholding that sex, because obviously men will come to you and will tell you everything you want to hear on those first 2-3 dates, and oh my God. And as soon as they get it, they're gone. Some, not all, but if I said they have that intention, as soon as they get it, they're gone. It has happened to many of my girls where they thought this guy is my king, oh my God, and they found obviously he's got a girlfriend somewhere, or he doesn't like them at all, or as soon as he gets the sex, that's it. Like, and after the sex, they have nothing to talk about. They're not emotionally connected. It's just pure sex.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
I think as well, coming back to what you said, Rhys, about like sex, like it being just an act and stuff. It's interesting because as much as it's an act, you can have a baby from having sex, people.
Exactly.
And to be honest, like that in itself shows there's something different with sex, that you can, you enjoy it, you have pleasure from it and stuff, but you can create another human being from it. I mean, that's just, and we can't even like comprehend that, how it happens, the mechanics of it. Obviously we know the physical side of it, the mechanics intrinsically, like it just happens, and you can create a person from that. And that in itself, that they carry your DNA, that shows a lot of love, I think. Conclude for me, why are you celibate? Explain to me, like, why you choose that. Why do you think that would be good for society? Really quick, in a sentence.
Too precious for me just to give to anyone, so someone special has to get it.
And Rhys, summarise for us.
I am polyamoric because I feel sex, you're talking about the devaluation of sex, I think it should be devalued. I think we take it far too seriously, and you can have incredibly wonderful, emotional, loving sex with someone, and then go out the next day and
have it with someone else.
Come on your face behind a nightclub, and it's beautiful.
So thank you for joining us today, for tuning in and watching us. So get us on social media, Keeping It Relationships. Make sure that you get us on there on Facebook and on Instagram, and join in the discussion. Let's not stop it here, but let's keep it going online. Tell us your views. What do you think about polyamory? What do you think about celibacy? You definitely know what it is now, so tell us your views. Okay, we want to hear from you. So it's really interesting talking to Rhys and Carin, because you can really see how they differ in the value they hold on sex. You know, Carin comes from a background where she has a faith as a Christian, and that is what enables her to put a big meaning behind sex for her. Whereas with Rhys, it was more like, it shouldn't even be that valued, it should be devalued. And I love his honesty with that and what he believes. But I think, I mean, even looking at having conversations about celibacy, a lot of people in our generation don't even know what celibacy is. because they've never had the opportunity to talk about it, or it's never been asked. They've never been asked about it as an option. So I think it's interesting to see how, if that's an option, whether people would take that option or whether it's just a norm that it's like, no, everyone has sex, so we're just going to do it as well.
Well, it's interesting you saying that, because I've had conversations, for example, and even from what we've experienced, where people have said to me, well, try it before you buy it. There's that mindset. And that's been encouraged through the media portrayal of music videos, movies that have dominant sex scenes and relational scenes. So all these things kind of seem to have an effect and an impact. And I think that kind of side of things has now changed, really. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we have a little quote for you for some inspiration.
Thanks for watching. Catch us on our next episode, where we'll be talking all about heartbreak.
Also, remember to join in on our online discussions and be sure to check out our website, realwithrelationships.com, to keep updated with all the latest episodes.
Keeping it real.